Russia, the land of vodka, bears, and oligarchs with more money than sense, is at it again. Forget your borscht and ballet, comrades. The new craze is a crypto exchange exclusively for the mega-rich. That's right, while ordinary Russians struggle to afford potatoes, their billionaire countrymen are diving headfirst into the wacky world of Bitcoin and beyond. This isn't your average crypto exchange, though. Oh no, this is Russia, where everything is bigger, bolder, and probably involves a suspicious amount of gold plating. This is an exclusive club for the 1%, a digital playground for those who measure their wealth in super yachts and Fabergé eggs. So, what's the deal with this crypto-exclusive club, and why is Russia so keen on letting its richest citizens play with magic internet money? Hold on to your ushankas, folks, because things are about to get interesting. Now, you might be thinking, John, I love a good borscht-fueled crypto bender as much as the next guy, and I'm always up for a little adventure in the world of digital riches. But let's be honest, how exclusive can this exchange really be? Is it just another fancy website with a velvet rope, or are we talking about a whole new level of gatekeeping? Well, let me put it this way. Imagine the most exclusive, over-the-top nightclub in all of Moscow. The kind of place where even the air feels expensive, and the bouncers look like they moonlight as secret agents. Now take that image and crank up the exclusivity to 11. Picture a place where the line outside is filled with people who already own half the city, and the only way in is if your net worth could buy a small island. Then add a sprinkle of Kremlin-level paranoia, security cameras everywhere, men in suits glancing over their shoulders, and a general sense that you're being watched by someone who knows your mother's maiden name. And just for good measure, throw in a dash of, "We don't want your dirty peasant rubles" attitude. If you show up with anything less than a small fortune, you're not just turned away, you're practically invisible. That's the vibe we're talking about here. It's not just exclusive, it's a whole different universe of wealth and privilege. To even sniff the welcome mat of this digital den of riches, you need to prove you're swimming in more rubles than Scrooge McDuck on payday. This isn't for the casual investor or the weekend crypto enthusiast. We're talking a minimum of 100 million rubles, yes, you heard that right, or a cool $1.2 million just to get your foot in the door. That's not a typo, and it's not a joke. And if you thought your annual salary was impressive, think again. For most of us, that's a lifetime of work, but here it's just the price of admission. Only those raking in over 50 million rubles a year, that's about $600,000, need even bother applying. This is the kind of place where your impressive paycheck is just pocket change to the regulars. Essentially, if your idea of a wild night is ordering another bottle of Dom Perignon because the first one got warm, congratulations. You're exactly the kind of high roller they're looking for. You might just be eligible for Russia's most exclusive crypto club, a place where fortunes are made, lost, and made again, all behind closed doors and encrypted screens. But for the rest of us mere mortals, we'll have to stick to our Dogecoin, our dreams, and maybe, just maybe, hope that one day we'll be sipping borscht in our own little dacha, watching the crypto whales swim by from afar. Behind every good, or in this case, questionably legal scheme, there's a mastermind pulling the strings. In Russia, where power games are played at the highest levels, these masterminds rarely show their faces. Instead, they operate from the shadows, orchestrating moves that ripple across the globe. The world of crypto is no different. Here the stakes are higher, the risks greater, and the rewards potentially enormous. In the case of Russia's crypto playground for the ultra-wealthy, it's none other than the dynamic duo of the Central Bank of Russia and the Ministry of Finance. These two institutions, pillars of the Russian financial system, have found themselves at the center of a digital gold rush, each with their own vision for the future of money in Russia. Think of them as the Batman and Robin of Russian economic policy, except instead of fighting crime, they're navigating the murky waters of international sanctions and trying to make the ruble relevant again. Their mission? To keep Russia's economy afloat in a world that's increasingly hostile to its traditional banking system, and to find new ways to keep the money flowing, no matter the obstacles. Now the central bank, bless their cautious little hearts, have been a bit hesitant about this whole crypto thing. Their job is to keep the financial system stable, and the idea of unregulated digital money makes them break out in a cold sweat. They worry about volatility, about criminal activity, and about losing control over the ruble. They've spent years warning about the dangers of digital currencies, comparing Bitcoin to pyramid schemes, and generally sounding like your grandpa trying to figure out how to use emojis. Their press conferences are filled with dire predictions and stern warnings as they try to convince the public that crypto is a threat, not an opportunity. But the Ministry of Finance, ever the pragmatists, see the potential of crypto to bypass those pesky sanctions and maybe even make a quick buck or ruble in the process. They argue that digital currencies could be the key to unlocking new sources of revenue, attracting foreign investment, and giving Russia a financial lifeline when traditional routes are blocked. It's a classic tale of caution versus ambition, played out on the global stage of international finance. On one side, the guardians of stability, wary of change; on the other, the risk-takers, eager to seize the moment and rewrite the rules. The tension between these two camps is shaping not just Russia's crypto policy, but its entire economic future. Who will win this battle for the soul of Russia's financial future? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride. As the world watches, the Kremlin's crypto czars are making moves that could change the game for everyone, and the outcome is anything but certain. Let's be honest, folks, Russia isn't exactly known for playing by the rules. In fact, if there were an Olympic event for creative rule-bending, the Kremlin would probably take home the gold every time. Whether it's meddling in foreign elections, flexing military muscle, or rewriting the playbook on international relations, the Kremlin has a knack for doing things its own way, often leaving the rest of the world scratching their heads. So it should come as no surprise that their foray into the world of crypto is anything but straightforward. Russia's approach to digital currencies is as complex and unpredictable as their foreign policy, full of twists, turns, and a healthy dose of intrigue. You see, Russia has a bit of a sanctions problem. Over the years, Western nations have piled on restrictions, making it harder and harder for Russian businesses and officials to move money, invest abroad, or even buy basic goods from international markets. Those pesky Western countries, always trying to rain on their parade, have slapped them with so many economic penalties, they might as well be playing financial whack-a-mole. Every time Russia finds a loophole, another sanction pops up to close it. But like a crafty bear escaping a Siberian winter, Russia is always looking for ways to adapt and overcome. When one door closes, they find a window, or in this case, a digital backdoor. And that, my friends, is where crypto comes in. Digital currencies offer a tempting escape hatch, letting Russia sidestep traditional banking systems and keep the money flowing even when the world says niet. It's the financial equivalent of a back-alley handshake, a way to move money around without those pesky international regulations cramping their style. Crypto transactions are fast, borderless, and, if you know what you're doing, pretty hard to trace. Need to buy some oil from your buddies in Venezuela? Crypto's got you covered. Want to keep trade flowing with countries under similar sanctions? Just fire up the blockchain and let the digital rubles roll. Want to fund some shadowy paramilitary groups in Ukraine? Crypto's your man. The anonymity and speed of digital currencies make them the perfect tool for all sorts of off-the-books activities. And just a quick disclaimer here, please don't actually fund shadowy paramilitary groups, that's bad. But it's clear, for Russia, crypto isn't just a tech trend, it's a lifeline, a loophole, and maybe their favorite new way to play the game. Now, Russia isn't content with just playing crypto whack-a-mole with the West. They're thinking bigger, bolder, and well, some might say a little bit delusional. Enter BRICS, the acronym for the economic powerhouse that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, they're like the Voltron of emerging markets, except instead of fighting giant robots, they're trying to create a new world order, maybe. At the heart of this grand plan is, you guessed it, digital currencies. Russia sees BRICS as the perfect testing ground for a new financial system. One where the US dollar is no longer the top dog and crypto reigns supreme. They've been pushing for a BRICS-backed digital currency, a sort of financial supergroup that could rival the mighty greenback. Whether this ambitious plan will succeed is anyone's guess, but one thing's for sure, Russia is dead set on shaking things up, and they're not afraid to use crypto as their weapon of choice. Now you might be thinking, John, this all sounds very theoretical, but is there any evidence that Russia is actually using crypto to bypass sanctions? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because the answer is a resounding da! Remember those pesky sanctions I mentioned earlier? Well, it turns out that Russian oil companies have been getting rather creative in finding ways to get around them. And by creative, I mean using Bitcoin and Ethereum to pay for their crude. That's right, folks. Those barrels of black gold are being traded for digital gold, with intermediaries helping to facilitate the transactions. It's a shadowy world of shell companies and offshore accounts, but one thing's clear, crypto is the fuel keeping this illicit trade flowing. Now, for all their talk about using crypto to create a new financial world order, Russia isn't exactly known for its love of free markets. In fact, they seem to prefer their markets like they like their vodka-strong, centralized and under strict government control. So, it's no surprise that their approach to crypto is about as subtle as a bear in a ballet tutu. This is not a country that embraces the decentralized libertarian ethos of the early Bitcoin adopters. Oh no, this is Russia where even the internet has an off switch. They want the benefits of crypto, sure, but without all that messy freedom and anonymity. They want to be able to track every transaction, control the flow of digital cash, and maybe even throw a few dissidents in jail for good measure. So, with all this talk about oligarchs and sanctions, you might be wondering, John, what about the average Ivan on the street? Are they all trading Bitcoin and buying their groceries with Ethereum? Well, not quite. While the Kremlin is busy building their crypto playground for the elite, life for ordinary Russians continues much as it always has, a constant struggle to make ends meet while navigating a labyrinthine bureaucracy and trying to avoid getting arrested for accidentally criticizing Putin. Sure, there are some Russians dabbling in crypto, but for the most part it remains a niche interest. The government's tight grip on the financial system and their love of red tape make it difficult for ordinary folks to get involved, even if they wanted to. So, what does the future hold for Russia and its foray into the wild world of crypto? Will they succeed in building their digital ruble empire and topple the US dollar as the global reserve currency? Or will their grand plans collapse under the weight of their own contradictions, like a poorly constructed dacha in the spring thaw? Only time will tell, my friends. But one thing's for sure, Russia's crypto experiment is a fascinating case study in the intersection of technology, geopolitics, and good old-fashioned greed. It's a story that highlights both the promise and peril of digital currencies and their potential to disrupt the global financial system as we know it. Whether you're a crypto enthusiast, a geopolitical junkie, or just someone who enjoys a good dose of schadenfreude, keep your eyes on Russia. They might be up to something, and whatever it is, it's bound to be interesting.